Hey, what's up, everybody? CM here with the Common Sense Perspective. I know I keep kind of playing around with the title, but I'm sticking with common sense. It could be agenda, it could be perspective, it could be uh, introspect. I mean, point of it is that I'm trying to bring back common sense, and that's my agenda. All right, because there's just too much of it being lost out there in translation. And so, a big topic of discussion that I've been kind of stuck on these last few days is all this illegal immigration type stuff that's been going on. And the key word is illegal, right? Illegal. That means if it's illegal, it's already breaking the law, right? And all that stuff. And, the stuff that's going on these last few days, right? You got, for example, let me see here. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. One of them is the, so-called interview, taped interview, right? The other day, and then yesterday. And also, the things about you hear about illegals, such as in Aurora, Colorado, the other day. Um, when there's videos of guys right here. Let me. I don't know if I could bring this up bigger. Here we go. Let me see here. Where they're marching up the stairs, and it's like they are busting down the door, right? And that just shows you the gang culture with some of the migrants that are coming in, especially Venezuelan gangs. And they're saying all this stuff about, they can't identify if it's actual Venezuelan gang, but the point of it is they're illegal and they're committing crimes. So that's the only thing that you really got to see is that they are committing a crime, they're illegal, so they shouldn't be here. I mean, look at this assault weapon, busting down the doors. I mean, clearly they're forcing their way in for something. All right, this is the same apartment complex in Colorado, making it dangerous, right? I know they're a sanctuary city, and this is what sanctuary cities are facing because they're a bunch of rubes, paying illegals everything in their mama to be able to live, and it's like, why? And it doesn't matter about this whole ICE debate stuff, like if you commit a crime, you should just be deported automatically. I mean, I don't know why that's the common sense, right? And it's just crazy how that is. I know I didn't have the audio on this thing. I actually want to have the audio on for my next footage here, but I wanted to show you guys how you have these armed men, that look like they're gang affiliated, but it doesn't matter, they're all legal. They should all just be sent back or arrested or something, which is crazy. But that's one thing, right? And then that's what happened the other day. Then, of course, a big thing yesterday too was this, quote unquote interview, taped interview, and you know, she's been challenged about the flip flops, right? A couple of things that stuck out to me on the flip flopping type stuff, right? Um, Besides being it's a taped interview, I mean, it's not really a direct interview where people can actually see what's going on. We don't know what was edited. We don't know, right? But the point of it is, the biggest thing that stuck out is how she says her values have not changed. So, if her values have not changed, let's think about this, all right? The flip flopping that seems to be geared towards more of the center or Republican side of things, well, just to pander, right? To make it look like she's favoring for the things that obviously people are in favor for. And the quote unquote is my values have not changed. If you look at the past history of her values, which she's pretty much ran off of, then she's going to continue to do the things that she's been doing because that's her value, her values that she's brought upon herself to do, right? So if she has been doing the work of allowing illegals to come in the country, well then that's what's not going to change. They will still come. All the things she said about how she's going to give them the opportunity, that they're all going to be straight up, fast forwarded through my immigration approach, get the jobs and all that stuff that they need to continue to live, and not prosecute any one of them because she did not like ICE, right? I mean, there's so much footage of her saying these things because those are her values of all the stuff she's done over the years. So, I don't know, that's just something here, but this is the part that really gets me right here. All right, let me play this clip for you.
My value around what we need to do to secure our border. That value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal
Isn't that a contradiction? Think about that. All right. Hold on.
Passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
All right, so let me get this straight. Her values have not changed. She spent 2 terms prosecuting. If we hear that again, all right.
Prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws.
Violations of American laws. So if they come in the country illegally, that's a violation of American law because it's illegal.
Regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border, my values have not changed.
Unless she's only reflecting towards criminal illegals, but you can't tell who they are because they just let them all through and they don't really filter through what.
So for some, now that you did talk,
people that
let me see if there's anything else on this particular
about
one.
the phone, how that happened.
I think you covered them in the House.
But it's funny how she would say that because if she was the border czar, which she claimed she wasn't, she was only to investigate the causes of this sort of migration stuff that's been happening, then she failed to find that information because she just let them all in anyways. Because even if she wasn't the border czar and she's just finding the causes, I mean, what does that really do to anybody? It doesn't really stop anybody from coming in. And she never really talked about the causes. And how many times has she been to the board? Maybe once. All right. But anyhow, that's what bothers me the most is how she says that she spent all this time prosecuting and all that stuff. And yet that hasn't been the case because everyone that's come in, rarely have they been, caught up on charges unless they committed like capital murders. The only ones that seem to be swept up and caught, right? Which is, the murders that's occurred to the Lincoln Riley and the mom, the fitness mom, right? For example, as examples of that. And so, I don't know. It's just, it really bothers me when she says that she prosecutes pretty much lawbreakers that have come across the border. And it's like, well, that in itself is already breaking the law by allowing them to cross the border. And then for her to say that she's going to fix it, and it's like, it could have been fixed already. Like, she's already at 3.5 years in. And you're telling me you can't have a conversation with Biden, you can't create some sort of policy. And I know that they're going to argue and say, well, we had this policy until Donald Trump, told his people to not vote for it and to vote against it, blah, blah, blah. And that was a weak entry of trying to deal with legal migration, talking about limiting illegals to come in a certain amount per day. It didn't really stop the flow. It just continues to allow the flow to come in, right? And who was to say that if it does hit a certain number per day, that it would stop? Because knowing this administration between Biden and Harris, there's no way that they would have just said, okay, we got to stop it now. No, they probably just allowed it through some sort of stupid backside executive order. All right, so let me see if I can find what was the proposed immigration bill that was shot down. All right, proposed immigration bill. All right, let's see if this is the one. Not the one that the Republicans try to put out, but the ones that the Democrats try to put out. I don't know if this is the one. Let's see, because they do catch and release currently. Because that's just what it is. They just catch them at the border, take their names, and be like, all right, here you go. Give you a ride. But yeah, so let me see here. Let's see, so Biden's groundbreaking October border supplemental. So delays processing asylum cases. Let's see, give Border Patrol 4.5 billion to expand operations. Where that money comes from, who knows? Just continue to print money. Provide government attorneys process the increased number of asylum cases. They wanted to address the delays, my bad. By another 2.5 billion, so more printing of money. Add asylum officers and technology to handle processing claims. Increase migration and refugee assistance programs. And let's see here. Yeah, there's not one special. So let's see here. The Department of Justice request was cut substantially. ICE would get more than 3 times the requested amount. This is not telling me nothing. Alright. But the point of it was that the Republicans want closed border. Alright? I mean, to me, that's a simple way to deal with it. Instead of having Kamala go address the root causes. Alright? Which didn't do nothing. Yeah, it's just what the Democrats wanted to propose was limiting it per day. So I think the number was like 5,000 per day or something like that. Some ridiculous number, regardless, which would automatically get hit per day. All right, and look at this. He vowed to be a dictator on day one. This is just one thing that they always try to skew. But yeah, so going back to this though, you really don't know what she's planning on doing because of the flip-flopping, past history, and a lot of contradiction, right? Because when you look at the contradiction, we're going to work on this, but yet you're allowing them to just flow right now when this could have been worked on. And then, she said that the original proposed bill that the Democrats were trying to put out there that would limit the entry and all that, she said she would sign that on day one, right? So that's not going to really stop the flow of illegal immigration. And if you're tough on crime and if you're gonna prosecute, you know, this sort of stuff, then there shouldn't be any illegal immigration. Well, that's the biggest thing of that I got out of this whole thing. As a flip flop that she's been doing, and then another flip flop was the Green Deal or the Green Policy, whatever you want to call it, Green Deal policy, where she has a history of saying she's against fracking, and then she says she's open to fracking, but yet because her values have not changed, and she's trying to push through this green policy, a la California, because California was the state that first started it, where she is from. And you're talking about getting people out of their gas cars within the next 10 to 15 years, right? And at most 20 years, right? But at most, I mean, just think about that though. You're getting people out of their cars, forcing them to buy $50,000, $100,000 electric cars that have limited range, that takes hours to charge, all because of this whole Green Deal policy stuff that supposedly is supposed to be better for the environment. But then when you look at how they go about getting these sources through, pretty much poor, what do you want to call it, poverty labor. I don't want to say slave labor because that might, trigger people, but that's what it is in other countries to pull these materials, right? And then when you really look at it, though, people don't like to get forced to do shit, right? You force people to buy electric cars, and they suck. They don't have range. And then imagine the amount of time, we don't even have the infrastructure, the amount of time for people to charge, get in line, take turns charging, and all that stuff. And all it is, this whole Green Deal policy is all these, people paying the politicians, because without them paying the politicians to prop it up and to kind of push, I guess you could say, these issues, these things will all be fails, because solar sucks, electricity power stuff sucks, when it comes to batteries, and you can't outdo what gasoline has done. And it's so overly stated that, when it comes to oil and gas and all that, and the things that they've improved on technology over the years, to me, is the better way to go with the future. If you really want to have people benefit, from the resources that we use, right? Because it's getting too damn expensive to pay these stupid bills, all because they're trying to push all these different agendas that really just pretty much fucks us up, like we have to export oil or import oil from other countries because you don't want to drill your own oil. We have to import all these different things because you don't want to do this because it's bad for the environment, or we got to do these environmental studies, and that's why construction's been slow on everything. And it's so simple, right? If you lax the policies, you lax a lot of these different things, there would be no issue with cost of everything coming down, right? I mean, that's common sense, right? And for example, and I keep going back to this too, if you combat the homelessness, and we know that homes is not the biggest thing to put them in, because it's been proven. California is the model of spending so much money, but yet the homeless keeps going up, right? I mean, how is that even possible? Especially the billions of dollars that's been spent. It's easy because it's beyond just a shelter. It's addiction issues, right? It's so obvious. You can see it as you drive by how they're mentally challenged, and you could tell there's some sort of addiction because they're so run down, right? and they need help with that stuff. And the only way to help them is to give them that treatment that they need. And they're not doing that because it's so taboo to put them in hospitals and mental health institutions. Because, I think the stereotype of, the white hospital with the rubber walls and, you have this whole lobby full of crazy people is what is dramatized, but it's not what's happening in real life. And if you give them the time to kind of really just get off the stuff and get treated for the addictions, um, two things can happen. Either they go back or they come back to normal and kind of work on self improvement. But that's a whole different subject. It's a whole different matter. I just wanted to just bring this flip flopping bullshit. All right, and what really triggers me is how they say, oh, we're going to address the issues of the border, even though they could have been, should have been in the last 4 years. When you look at how they just essentially just opened the floodgates and they just all came in, just in a tune of what, 10 million plus have come in. I mean, that's just crazy to wrap your head around. And then to say, oh, we're going to work on fixing this now. And it's like, what kind of shit is that? So, that's what I wanted to mention here. And talk about prosecuting and all this other stuff for law breaking. They're all breaking the law because they're all here illegally. Right? So, I don't know. It's stupid. And people need to wake up. If you see this and you still want to vote for her, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. Alright, so just wake up. Alright, and the reality is that she'll be terrible if you let her be president because, again, my whole position is she's going to carry on the Biden policies and she's going to turn up the volume because she's very progressive, even though she's flip-flopping, even though she's really, to me, doing a bait and switch, and she's going to switch back to her real self, right? So don't let this fool you into thinking, oh yeah, she's changed and she's going to be better. No. Alright, if you want things to get worse, yeah, vote for her, and then I'm just going to laugh at you guys and say, because you got what you vote for then. Anyhow, that's my take on this. Share with me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Did you watch this? Let me know what you think. What do you think about the illegals committing crimes that they're not really doing nothing about over here? Right? There's a lot of them. There's protection from ICE. Yeah. There's sanctuary. You get what you ask for, right? If I was bordering Denver and the spillover from Denver starts coming about to my city, and I was running my city, for example, if I was in Aurora, which borders Denver, and you started spilling over these people in my city, I'd round them up and I would put them right back into Denver. That's what I'd be like. I'd be like, here you go, boom, here you go, boom, and drop them right back off on those streets. And I would monitor the entryways into my city. If you want to play the games, because we never said, hey, Denver says there's a sanctuary city. All right, cool. But I never said that my city is. So if I was running that city next to any community city that borders Denver and I started seeing spillovers, I'd be like, nope, put them right back. This is what you wanted. This is what you get. And if you want to battle, I'll battle the mayor or whoever's running Denver, and it'll be on. So that's what I'm saying. But anyhow, that's just my thought on things. It's just stupid shit you see, and nothing's really being done about it. And the biggest change you really need is get Trump in office, because maybe he will fulfill the destiny of removing all illegals. All right, don't let the dummies out there fear and uncertainty and doubt the things that should be happening but is not happening right now with this current regime. And let's just get real here. We got to move forward and stop this shit. All right, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next one.